History, the one you know is a lie, that has been kept going by those who control the world. These videos are done the way so they pass the censorship, they are done for you the public, but many are older videos and live speeches, made for the private and secure, Jedi Alliance network. As you will see, all this has been in the works for centuries. The original alliance is just people from across the world that have been passed down certain secrets or forbidden knowledge of our true history. The one you know is a lie, that has been kept going by those who control the world. If you doubt that, just take a look at your governments, media, and the control of religion. It is this control why many fail to see the hidden messages in Star Wars and why Disney took over. Disney now control the message, and for all its false promises, you will see the destruction of the Lucas originals. Saying Jedi must end, and it is a religion is false. They try to hide the truth. Disney, who from its beginning turned old stories into fairy tales, making them totally different from the original. That is what you will expect to see happen again. It also did the same with our influence with Atlas Comics, now Marvel. To create a path for our story to be retold meant changing the public perception of hero worship, not gods, and to allow a new genre of people with gifts. Before as well as still, there is those who think only gods and demigods are allowed them, that any other is demonic and must be burnt at the stake. Do you really think they were killed for nothing? This is nature's force combined with the cosmic that allows life and created everything. The harmony with nature has been cut. And why nature is turned on mankind, as it is the dark abuse that has diseased and destroyed our world and the connection with nature and the cosmic consciousness. This is allowed because our governments are too controlled. This is the dark times, but a new hope has begun, and just as the wise old master has to tell them, that the Jedi are not myth, so too you have now. Our slow reveal is so not to cause any planned control to be rushed forward. The bank, trade, media monopoly you were foretold, and the clone wars rage on in Middle East today, as the Abrahamic religions are still being played off each other by their man-made God demands. Ignore these warnings is up to you, but now we must act to preserve all life.
And yet, what is most significant historically is perhaps not what stands on top of the earth, but what lies beneath it. There, in a fortress-like bunker, closed to the public and protected by armed guards, lies an incredible 53 miles of shelving, more than 100 times the distance from one side of Vatican City to the other, dug deep into the earth. On these shelves sit 12 centuries worth of documents, an unmatched history not just of the Catholic Church, but of the world as we know it. This is the Vatican Secret Archive, and hidden within it are the original recordings of some of history's most important and well-known events. There are some, however, who say that this is not all that is hidden there. Some believe that deep beneath the Vatican is a different kind of history, one of secret powers, apocalyptic prophecies, and perhaps even extraterrestrials.
Papal Pailpatine, basically. Then Pailpatine go on any anagrams or change the letters about and find out for yourselves what it says.
Wherever they went, and being passed to their successors when they died. As the religion and its influence spread, the growing size of the records made this untenable, and the Church began to store them at the Pope's official residence. By the 11th century, archives were being kept in at least 3 different locations: St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City, as well as the Lateran and the Palatine Palace nearby in Rome. Of course, the Middle Ages were a time of constant conflict across Europe, and on more than one occasion, the locations housing these Vatican records were sacked, resulting in the loss.
What you're going to hear today may shock some. They may not really believe it at first. Go and research it. So if you go in as the lowly little cardinal, and then they come out as the Pontifex, which is an old name for a Roman emperor, and all the first popes were Greek or many of them Roman. The Vatican's on the centre of Mithras, religion, which is just exactly the same as Jesus or Horus or Apollo. They're all, you know, just the same. But we'll go on to that in a minute. See, I'm straight off there. So, yeah, when you go, and you know, people waiting in, you know, I don't know why, standing there in that square waiting there, and that they don't even know that there's like 3 floors, secret floors underneath them, full of records and documents. And so have we. Sins, including sodomy, they do commit sin and stuff like that in order so they can be prayed for and, you know, given all that. Because don't forget, at the end of the day, the Pope is the Vicar of Christ.
Similarly, the archives house the letter sent to the Pope in 1530 by English noblemen, clergy, and even the Archbishop of Canterbury, asking that King Henry VIII be allowed to divorce his wife, Catherine of Aragon, so that he might marry Anne Boleyn. Written on an enormous 3-foot wide parchment, the letter promised extreme measures if the Pope did not heed their request. Of course, the Pope rejected the request, triggering a break with the Church of England and the English Reformation. Elsewhere, there are minutes from the 1633 trial in which Galileo was tried as a heretic for arguing that the earth revolves around the sun and not the other way around, an incredible moment in the history of religion versus science. Similarly, the minutes from the trial against the Knights Templar were discovered amongst the archives in 2001, after having been lost for centuries due to an archival mistake. In the early 14th century, and at the peak of their prodigious power, the Knights Templar had been accused of heresy and blasphemous behavior during the Crusades. Many were severely punished, even burned alive. However, as the discovered documents showed, the Pope actually absolved the group of blasphemy in 1308, totally changing the historical memory of the group and their relationship with the brutality of the Catholic Church. There are some who believe the Knights Templar trial is not the only thing in the Vatican secret archive which has been misplaced, perhaps even intentionally hidden. Some suggest that somewhere in the archives is the original copy of a correspondence between St. Paul and the Roman Emperor Nero. Except you can't just walk in and start looking around. First, all entrants must be carefully accredited scholars. No journalists, students, or amateur historians allowed. Once accreditation is received and the scholars make it inside, past the armed guards, browsing is not permitted. Instead, researchers can request up to 3 folders per day. These folders are not cataloged or organized, so they could contain anything. This means it could be years before researchers stumble upon anything of note. In fact, they showed this blatantly for the world to see in 2020, not 1 year after they took secret out of the name. After considerable pressure from Jewish and human rights groups, the Vatican agreed to release documents pertaining to the reign of Pope Pius XII during the Second World War. Many had criticized Pope Pius for first failing to speak out against Mussolini's racial campaign, then failing to condemn the Holocaust as a whole, and perhaps even actively collaborating with Nazis. The question on everyone's mind was, as the Nazis were rounding up Rome's Jews, what was the Pope saying behind the scenes? Asserting that the Church is not afraid of history, the Vatican released a handful of documents related to Pope Pius. Unfortunately, it was far from the comprehensive collection they had promised. What they released looked more like a public image campaign than an attempt to bring history to light, leading to heavy and ultimately ignored criticism. And that's just it. When it comes to their archives, the Vatican guards their secrets closely, no matter the public pressure or what these secrets could mean for the world. Of course, this begs the question, what other secrets might they be hiding?